How's it going, everybody? It's Man Tomorrow here the one in the chat. You can be able to hear me. Okay. All right, I'll keep going. All right, I want to welcome everybody to the show. I want to thank y'all for coming through. This is probably less about the actual woman of the topic and more about the pathetic men who need to outsource their actual failed relationships to that actual person itself. I actually did join Obsidian's live stream today when he was interviewing her. And it was very important to actually know the political background of the actual individual. So this individual can't state that they didn't know who they was interviewing or they didn't know what was going on there. The second question that I wanted to get to, but I didn't think was relevant, was what type of tangibles that she was going to do. But she said she was going to put together some documentaries, so that question was already answered. Let's her come in and ask a second question because there was really no reason to ask a second question after that. Strong sheet we're here. Make sure y'all hit the like button while coming in. So those people who were up there, because the question of the conversation was about, regardless of what you think about it, was based around the actual reparations piece. And I think she made it worse, actually, by saying that black people did not deserve reparations, which I find funny because if you, quote unquote, learned a lesson and apologize for not knowing, why on earth would you turn around and say that they don't deserve reparations because of an issue? It literally doesn't make any sense. And this is why it's good to have these people around, so that way you can see how and why people don't like or me don't trust black conservatives, especially the cultural kind. It's very obvious about what the conversation was about, right? Like if she was asked a question about the Armenian genocide, I doubt she would have responded the same way. I don't even know who Big Mad is. Do y'all know who this dude is? Challenge us. Who the fuck is us? Wait, who the fuck is this dude, man? Hold on a second. Who is this dude? I never even. Hey man, look, I don't even know who this dude is. So here's the thing. I think it's harder organizing on the conservative side. I truly do think that it's hard as shit organizing on the conservative side. After January 6th, after all these things that happened, now you can hit the link and you can come up. You can come up, but you're not just gonna be haranguing me in the chat, brah. So the link is there if you want to come up. If you come up here and show your ass, I will send the FBI to your fucking house. Because I'm not taking down my fucking live streams. You want to get butt naked on fucking the live streams? I will send the feds to your fucking house. Because I ain't taking down shit. You want to do that dumb shit? I have your ass with all three of your names in a fucking courtroom. So, you want to talk all that shit? You can hit the link, bruh. That's why the link is there. So let's get this conversation back on track. So, I went into this live stream with some misconceptions. My misconception number one is I didn't know that this woman was this fucking young, right? I assumed that this woman was in her 30s, especially with all the people who's over there listening to her and all that shit, which I'm fine with because my analytics are not lying. My analytics say the number one person who all of your subscribers are subscribed to, especially the United States based ones, is her. Now, I normally don't look at my analytics because I don't really care about analytics because I'm here for a very specific job, which is correcting men and showing them that there's a better way rather than the relationship argument. But a lot of these sorry ass people wanted to restart the relationship argument because the Manusphere was pretty much dead, especially after Kevin Samuels died. There's really no other content creator, like there are others. You have the Edwards, the BGSs, the Roger Report, who is still going to traffic in this fucking foolishness of the relationship conversation, still bitching about women, trying to get women to come back to some non-existent table. And it's not like these dudes have produced a whole bunch within the time period. What's going on, Melee? It's on Straight Shooter. That's what I'm saying, Straight Shooter. I thought she was at least like 30, 35 years old. Oh, so I got super chat. Eric Bird, thank you for the follow. Super chat. Of course, Ed, ODJ are double talking and backpedaling Pearl just as well. She apologizes and damage control. She didn't do damage control. She did not do damage control on Obsidian Show. She turned around and said, which is worse than the actual statement of not knowing or trying to dismiss the actual history. She straight up said that black people don't deserve reparations because she doesn't understand how it would be paid out. Like that's not what the fucking reparations conversation is about. It's a yes or no based conversation, and after the yes or no, that's where you're done with the actual conversation. You don't need to understand how. They got people who are going to do that. Uncle Stu, old man for the block, thank for the $2 super chat. She does sweet melody speaks, and I assumed that she was over 30 for real. I really did assume that. So I don't really get people who went on there to try to make it look like on some. I didn't understand the people who expected the man who was on the show. I guess or a producer or some shit. I don't understand why people expected that dude to quit his job working with her. That doesn't really make any sense. Because if a person is employed by somebody and you don't have a job to offer that individual, it's kind of stupid for somebody to leave their employment. You always see this stuff in sports where people be like, oh, well, you know what? They should boycott the team. Like, no, the team or the sport that he's playing is his actual job. And the person's not going to leave their job to make a group of people happy, especially a group of people like this. It doesn't make any sense. But again, the only reason why people are over there is because these people have made no progress within their personal life. Let's keep it real. They made no progress in their personal life. That's why they have to cling toward Edward, BGS, Green Gorilla, Dr. Thunder, Dr. Tia Son Johnson, other people who are normally full of shit. Because at the end of the day, they're not going to pick a side. They're not going to take no action, and they're not going to put in any work to fix their own circumstances. They're always going to find another group of people to outsource this shit to at the end of the day. Again, when Kevin Samuels came through trying to shine up these reptiles for these dudes to surrender all of their supposed productivity to them, they took the first opportunity to go back into this building. They took the first opportunity to go back into this building. And that's what I'm saying. This is, yeah, the views and opinions are my own. They're not of the Black Brain Trust. They're not of anybody who's going to come on this panel. There's not of anybody. But I am going to say this. Now you see why black men are so far fucking behind. You see it. They can't focus on the productivity piece. They have to be around these fucking reptiles, these former street dudes, these ex pimp dumbass motherfuckers. They cannot shed the skin of unproductive men. They can't do it. Like I said, this is less about Pearly. It's more about the sorry ass motherfuckers who joined this space acting like they wanted progress. Again, big man, you didn't come up, man. You can get unblocked whenever you want to. You just got to come up here and you know, explain your point. So what I'm saying is that you cannot help people who's on this relationship talk shit. As a man, as a woman, it makes sense to talk about the relationship argument. It makes all the sense in the world. Why? The women normally have less to lose than the man in a relationship. And that's where all of her power is having men approach and be in relationships with them. That makes a lot of sense for women to talk about relationships. It don't make any sense for men to talk about relationships. Why? Because you're giving power away in a system that the power dynamic is normally slanted toward the woman. And you don't need a 26-year-old who just agrees with everything that comes out of her mouth in order for you to do things. What's going on, Kevin Kid Walker Kelly? What's going on, Mr. G's world? You mean to tell me that you didn't make any progress as a fucking man, that you wanted to outsource your ability to deal with your localized woman to a fucking 26-year-old woman in fucking Britain? You mean to tell me that you motherfuckers are this sorry as a human being? You just sorry as a human being that you decided to reset all of your progress because now you found one person, and it's an anomalistic circumstance where a woman walks to the door and just agrees with everything that comes out of your mouth. But that's the thing. Dudes want to be on, I got a dick, I'm right, that's the end of it. She's providing a dream for these dumbass motherfuckers who listen to this shit. Because you can't mean to tell me that you listen to this type of speech and all of a sudden the other women around you bow down because you listen to this shit. What's going on, Erica Williams? Again, I didn't know she was 26. I assumed she was 30, maybe even 40 some years old. Not married, but somehow I was going to come up with a marriage camp to help you dumb motherfuckers get married. Somehow. He's creating a documentary about a system that inherently empowers her. Why don't you create a documentary that inherently empowers you to do whatever you want to? Like, you got to go from fake representation to actual action. How are you going to get to the action piece? And think about it. If you're stupid to fall for this, there is no telling how stupid and dangerous you truly are as a human being. This is why I say these individuals have to be licensed, bonded, and insured. Why? Because this relationship shit and this undiagnosed trauma or maybe a lack of fulfillment isn't anything a 26-year-old can fucking help you with. A 26-year-old can't help people in their 40s, 50 years old, people in their 30s. Get to the fucking money. So that way you can buy yourself into a better system and format so that way you can be happy. What's going on, Mike B? What's going on, Lil Rock? What's going on with Spec Streaming? Make sure y'all hit the like button upon coming in. But see, this is the problem. The Black Manosphere was supposed to be a place for men to understand the layout and the format of how things work and subsequently make decisions so that way you don't end up like the men who have the worst experiences. That's what the Manosphere was supposed to be about. Then the Manosphere turned into a place for liberal men to talk about liberal women. Because as much as these people talk noise and trash about those women, they don't have a group of women that they can attract to even come on the panel with them. The conservative women that they claim that they want are nowhere in the chat, nowhere in the comment section, and definitely not on the panel. A conservative woman raised in a conservative environment is not going to bring one of these liberal ass men who don't have their stuff together to their father. But see, that's the thing. They want all this access, but they don't want to produce nothing for the access that they want with these women. But that's the problem. You got the people who are stunting like they serial impregnators, knowing damn well they ain't got no actual experience with these women that they're complaining about. And I'm not saying that you need to have experience with women to talk things about what's true in society, but you had better have your stuff together before you start pointing fingers out. Because if you don't, then the fingers start to point back. These people want a deal that they've never seen meted out in their own life. Like a lot of these people wasn't even raised under two-parent households and shit, talking about patriarchy. When you wasn't raised in the patriarchy, you never experienced the patriarchy. But you expect a woman who already have all her needs met by the actual government to give up all that shit on your bullshit about patriarchy. That's crazy. No one's gonna give up a deal like what they got to settle for you, and you ain't even got your stuff together. That's what I've been saying, man. We're not even talking low budget. We're talking about direct to DVD liberals, man. Direct to DVD liberals. That's what we're talking about. Direct to DVD. But you have to realize that these people are a threat and a danger to most of the people around here. Why? They want their failed circumstances to be so normal among the populace that actual progress from anybody within this society is a threat to them personally. Yes, actual male progress that's not primarily focused on what these women think is a threat to the Bravo Alpha November. Why? The Bravo Alpha November is putting the woman first, and not just any woman first, it is the wrong woman first. And when you put these people on live streams, they don't even know how to interact with men, or even when they come in contact with a woman, they try to make a woman that they don't know be responsible for how every woman treated them in society and life. Like, dude, these people are dangerous as hell. You can't put these people around other people. These people are straight up dangerous. I say this: if they made it to be this old, as old as they are, and they have not had kids yet. The worst thing you can do with these type of individuals is give them a 30-something-year-old woman so that way they can have fresh kids and a high-risk pregnancy, and that's how we're going to repopulate the so-called black community. We're going to put inexperienced men with women who is nearly out of the range for having kids. Is that how we're supposed to repopulate this thing at this point? Because that's what it sounds like. That's what it sounds like. The medical community has not said anything about these actual circumstances. The psychological community has not said anything about these circumstances, and they should be the first ones out here talking about how these people are going around unlicensed, quote unquote, doing their work. And of course, the law enforcement apparatus is never going to be behind this stuff because it's fake answers to real problems. But see, when you cannot be honest about your actual circumstances, this is how you find this placebo shit online. This is how you end up talking to individuals that you shouldn't be talking to resolve these past issues. The answer is yes, I do think there is something wrong with you. If you inherently want to go to people that you know inherently cannot give you a result, but you want to deal with these individuals anyway to give you an expected result that you know they cannot offer you, there is something wrong with you. Yes. Especially with the abortion laws, what do you think this high risk pregnancy or an actually ectopic pregnancy going to do? It's going to kill the woman or put her in some significant risk. This is what I'm saying about the level of patheticness when it comes to these dudes. Like, listen, the women actually being over there, that makes sense. They're talking about their options and how they are getting off the field with new crops of men. It makes all the sense in the world. But for men to be over there, dude, dude, bro, that don't make no sense whatsoever. It makes absolutely no sense. So let's go into the Nick Fuentes situation. The reason why I joined Obsidian's panel, and shout out to him for letting me on, because I wanted to see what political party that this person was a part of. The reason why you do that is because if you're already part of the party, then it makes sense not to bring people on. And if you are going to bring them on, you need to pre-tell them not to bring up certain topics and subjects. So that way, you don't look crazy and they don't go off the rails to where you start having conversations that you're not prepared to answer. But as a person who is a conservative, you have no excuse not to know who Nick Fuentes is. And even if you don't know who he is, you can definitely Google his comments. You can see that he was at the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. You can see that he traffics and pushes the great replacement situation. That is actually pretty fake. The great replacement theory by most of these people in rural America mirrors the great replacement theory that black people have. And they're both false theories. And I will explain to you why. Businesses need productive people in order to work for them. If your home environment cannot produce the individuals that they need to run their business, they are going to go abroad and get that type of labor for them. No, they're not producing too many HB1 visas to the point to where you can't get into tech. That's crazy. But then again, the people who are complaining about the HB1 visa system are not significantly upskilled people. Yeah, very true. So when people refuse to upscale and they redirect the anger of not being able to upscale onto other individuals who simply want to get to the money and have simply put in the time in their horrific circumstances to skill up so that way they can be a part of the productive economy because the actual United States is interested in taxpayers. They're not interested in giving away welfare benefits to men who don't produce. And these people want to have an intact family household for the most part. Bring your ass on over. But see, the people in the Unite the Right, you know, the we will, you know, the you will not replace us crowd. Black men, a lot of them have the same problem. They like their satisfactory place at the bottom where they don't have to compete with anybody. And they definitely don't want to be showed up that they're not doing the maximum that they're supposed to with their actual position in society by new people who just got here. Where I think she made a mistake today on Obsidian show was saying that black people did not deserve reparations. Again, this is something that you don't have to say, even if you believe it. If the controversy of bringing your ass on is based on the actual insensitive and just lack of knowledge comments based on the racial history in America, which I don't expect white people to know or care about at this point because it's not their issue. When it came time for us to actually challenge Texas and those textbooks that they was actually making, there could have been people who stepped up to make clear actual competition in the textbook market so that way Texas won't be able to monopolize the history in books. People refuse to do that. You see, conservatives go out there and they actually lobby for things and fight for things to actually be in textbooks. That's what I like about the conservative party. No matter how messed up their actual actions are, they take their personal issues and they turn their personal issues into an interest by putting it on the ballot. That's how your personal interest becomes an actual issue. Once it can be voted on, once it can be organized around, once it can be leveraged around, that's when it's real politically. Now, if you're going through all this child support shit, you don't have a side pick, you're somehow in the middle, you don't caucus with anybody, your issue is not on the actual ballot, you haven't organized with any other group of people. I'm talking about organizing as in signatures about your issue and putting it on the ballot. That's the process. You can't tell me about the stuff you're going through personally. You can't organize with anybody, and you expect this stuff to be fought for by everybody else, even though you're the only person, one personally going through it. That's not how that works. That's why people have a very hard time understanding the process because they're trying to get everyone else to solve their issues while they don't participate in the process themselves. I will give you a very good example. Wayne Allen Root. If you are a libertarian, you know who that guy was. What was Wayne Allen Root's issue for the past 20, 25 years of him being on TV? His issue was sports betting. That is what his issue was. Sports betting. Guess what happened once Wayne Allen Root got his sports betting passed in most of these states that he actually lobbied for? He disappeared. Why? He only had one issue. He wasn't trying to lobby or do anything else with anyone else. He was just trying to get his issue passed so that way he can disappear into the ether and not help anybody else with their issue. What's wrong, Tampa Spring? Yes, they look at you and this child support issue as the same thing. If you're not trying to coalition with anybody and put things on the ballot and work with people with their issues, you're never going to get your issues solved. Remember, white men just shut the fuck up and pay their child support. They know it's hurtful, they know it's painful, but guess what they don't do? It's not on the ballot. It's not on the ballot. So when men say that they have all these interests and your interest ain't on the ballot, you have no interest. So when somebody tell you to vote your interest, they're really telling you to vote your ignorance because you don't understand how the process works. And if your issues are not on the ballot, you just make up shit out of whole cloth and expect for people to come pander to you to get your vote. That's not how this system works. It's never worked that way. Politicians hate uninvested people. They hate the fucking middle. Dude, listen, man. She was too grinning and happy to be there. But as a person who's a social chameleon for the most part, she has to adjust the way she interacts with people to make her guests comfortable. And that's when the guests got comfortable and started talking all that crazy shit. Why? Because he was comfortable with who he was on with. Mr. G's World, thank you for the follow super chat. Once she started leaning more towards on the political side, she went into getting exposed on. The copy and paste doesn't work the same there. No, you're correct. Dude, if she wanted right wing people, dude, you can pick any number of these right wing people to have them on. You didn't need to not start off with Nick Fuentes. You could have had a bunch of number of people on. We're talking about state senators. We're talking about people who are currently part of the legislature in states, non controversial people. If you literally wanted to talk to people that would not have put you in this situation, those people would have reached out to you if you would have reached out to them. That's the problem. But see, a lot of these people here to build this platform based off of our problems, they want to sit here and talk. They don't want to take a side. They don't want to take any action, and they want to ignore all the issues. Now, I'm talking about like when I'm talking about conservatives, I'm talking about fake conservatives. By the way, not real conservatives. I'm talking about fake conservatives. I'm talking about culture warriors. I'm talking about people who don't have the capability of actually discussing policy. So yes, you have a lot of intellectuals, people who have degrees, but they don't have any accomplishments. They don't even have a side pick. You want to know why? They can't have this environment change for anything in the world. That's why most of their complaints are about feminism. But if you know that this liberal woman is going to run to her government for help and protection, why are you messing around with her in the first place? That's a cultural issue that you refuse to resolve. If you know there's a problem with the culture, you solve it with the cultural solution, or you pick better. Me, I did it through the cultural piece. And I did not try to make a business model out of sports fucking on women that I knew was not a good choice for me if things would have went wrong, if they would have ended up pregnant. Yeah, that's what I did. I did it on purpose. Why? I seen what the rest of my brothers went through with child support when they got with the wrong woman, got her pregnant, had kids with the wrong woman. All these complaints about custody hearings and dude, I don't want to deal with none of that stuff, man. I don't want to deal with none of that stuff. My masculinity it did not have the redemption story arc based on it. I didn't have an extra 20 to 25 years to be wasting on trying to get my stuff together, go to school, and invest in myself and take care of a kid. I didn't have all that kind of time. I'm saying, dude, I know real racist people, man. They can't stand people like Nick Fuentes. They look at them as celebrity racists. They look at them as racial trolls, man. They don't look at them as no dude who's gonna put in no work. They look at this dude as a young dude who jump online, who says a whole bunch of nonsense, but ain't putting in no real work. And I'm not talking about showing up to these rallies. That's not real work. Real racists get into the legislature. Real racists go out and get into education. They do something with their racism. They just don't sit there and just be racist for no damn reason. They go out and they put their racism into action. That's exactly what they do. They go get into law enforcement. They go get into the judiciary where they can mete out as much punishment that they want to based on their preconceived notions. That's why I say it doesn't make any sense to talk to people like this online because it's just an online conversation. Now you're putting your whole self at risk, and you still don't think black people deserve reparations, which is worse than all the criticism that you were actually dealing with before you even went on Obsidian's show. So she kind of doubled down on the things that she actually was talking about that led her ass to the actual criticism in the first place. I tell you this, you can say what you want about them, but them dudes do not mess around with people like Nick Fuentes. They gonna make them put in some work. Trust me. I was around some for real racist people in the fucking military, and let me tell you, they can't stand dudes like this, even though they do believe all the same stuff. So you have to ask yourself about, okay, so the next portion of my criticism goes toward the women. The women who have platforms within this space. The women in this space thought that the men's discontent with the relationship market was something these black women could exclusively benefit from. And some of them do. I don't even have to say the names because I don't want their content showing up in my algorithm. Because I could stay away from problematic liberal women that I don't want to be with. I love being around women who's about some substance. Because at this point, I ain't trying to fuck everything that moves. That's not what I'm on right now. I'm on some team up with people who got their stuff together so that way we all can have a good outcome at this point. And that's the problem. The women thought that we was just going to exploit these people's position of being thirsty as fuck, and we was going to be the person exclusively benefiting off. That was a wrong assumption. These are not quote unquote your men to exploit, even though these dudes want to be exploited. They go around to these channels about women who talk bad about their own kind of fucking women, and these men just rain super chat money down on them. I think that's pretty pathetic. I don't think that's going to help a man get to a woman that he can actually deal with by dealing with these online placebo quiches. But hey, they want to be exploited. They want to find an excuse of going to the same avatar of the type of woman that would never deal with them in any shape, way, form, or fashion and pay them for their opinion. But see, you don't get called a trick when you super chat somebody like that in that scenario. Let's say that you went out and spent money on actual sex. That's when you're a trick. Crazy. However, at the end of the day, the men are exploiting men too. Pro blacks have always exploited the black community. They're there now. Pro blacks have stolen the valor of actual historical figures who actually participated in the process, regardless of how they was handled by the government or locked up for BS reasons. They still participated in the process when they could. These individuals run a dis and misinformation campaign to redirect your lack of political results onto the women that are organizing for the results that they get. So it's a misinformation campaign. Yeah, they are dangerous. They are dangerous. They've always have been dangerous. And with all the things going on in the space, you see people who just pop up out of nowhere with bullshit conversations, ignoring all of the history and the things that have happened here. That's why you have so many of the wrong type of black men pushing the vote your own interests. Or they tell you that, look, I've been the Democratic Party. I don't understand why they over there. Like, yeah. So have you read the history? No. People still haven't read the history. They've been in this space 5 or 6 years, still haven't read the history because they can't be seen taking a side. You know what? When you take a side, you can get some results when you take a side because the next step after taking the side is organizing on the side that you chose. Doesn't matter what you chose. That's where you can start organizing for some type of results. But you can't organize any type of results when individuals are in the middle, but they just attack the left all the time. Nothing about the right, even though they did try to overthrow the government a couple years ago. No criticism at all. Because to a lot of these fake conservatives, since they're not going to fight for anything, they want to buy into the America's perfect model. America's perfect. Those people who complain about it are actually the problem among America. That's what a lot of these people think. Mr. G's right there for the $5 super chat. I'm shocked that there's no integrity having dudes are willing to give reparations just for some, give it back to on a BW. They're indeed dangerous. Yes, they're just really, they, they literally want the access to the women that they complain about. They're somehow conservatives, complain about liberal women, but they want liberal women to do conservative things. Doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know how that happens. I don't know how that works, but that's what they want. But when you explain it that plain, you can see the psychopathy in action. You can see how crazy this stuff is in action. But a lot of these individuals want to weigh down the entire progress of men based on their lack of sexual access issues. Because I can tell you right now, it's not about sexual access, it's about control. You're not going to be able to control somebody in this circumstance. It is literally too late for these dudes to have kids. with the type of women that they want to have kids with. Because if you look around, you look at the statistics, the women that are having kids are going down. You want to know why? Those kids were raised by those mothers in those environments. Of course, their outcomes and their actions are going to be different for the most part. There's so much data out there to see where these outcomes are going that nobody wants to live through that. Nobody wants to put themselves through it, especially when you live through it as a child already. Like my nephews made better decisions than their fathers and mothers. My nieces and nephews have made better relationship choices than their fathers and mothers. That was not socialized into them, by the way. They made better decisions. I really do question men, straight shooter, who claim that they want to help these women out but don't want to produce for them. Can you really help men that dodge the productivity piece? To skip around the entire planet to focus on the relationship piece? I don't think you can help men like that. The women, it makes sense. They're waiting for another sucker to come up to take the deal that they already have. That makes sense. That's a power move on their part. But for men to reset, to keep resetting the conversation because they've made no progress, so now they have to go all the way over to England and subscribe to somebody who's resetting the conversation, giving them fake solutions to a real problem. That's crazy. This is why you can't have real conversations in the manosphere. Because most of these individuals in this actual manosphere is trying to escort you into problems for their own personal benefit. They're not trying to liberate you from bad choices for your own benefit. All of these people already have an end goal. You're just seeing what the end goal is for some of these people versus not. None of this stuff is true. You got people who saying that, oh, I'm leaving the manosphere. Next thing you know, they're back, exploiting the same people. Then they're leaving the manosphere again. Then they're back, exploiting the same people. Then they're leaving the manosphere again. Then there's a whole bunch of criticism toward the manosphere, and all of a sudden they disappear again. Next thing you know, live streams popping up. Next thing you know, didn't really like her, even mess with passport dudes back in the day. Now all of a sudden you're leveraging and grifting off that content now. It's all the content strategy to keep you behind. That's all it is. This whole system is based on male usury. Male usury from being in a bad relationship, or male usury by offering you horrific answers to questions. Because this actual conversation within the manosphere has been derailed by a couple of different forces. One is the pro-blacks. Thinly veiled as it is, they're nothing but male feminists. The only thing they're trying to do is get these women's mistakes taken care of by other unsuspecting men. That's why they heavily leverage women talking points. The second group of people, which operates like pro-blacks, are these unreformed street people. They come to the space, they offer nothing, they don't take a side, they only talk about the overages of feminism and all that stuff. They have to heavily leverage feminism as substance. They have to redirect your anger from not having your shit together to the fact that a woman won't give up absolute power in order to settle for your broke ass. That's the second group of people. And the third group of people, this is the majority of the space at this point, is a whole bunch of unprincipled oil slicks. I'm talking about uncultured reptiles who have this get the bag motto. Every time you look around, they're trying to sell compromise. They cannot have a functioning society to save their life. And they think any type of principle being exacted within this environment is somehow a violation of their rights of freedom. The same individuals who talk about code are the same individuals who treat people with a lack of disrespect all the time and expect protection from it. That's the deal. That's what they own. And whenever their nonsense is getting out of control, like, hey, look at my live stream, look at my analytics. I'm like, okay, you get a whole bunch of viewers based on talking about stagnant nonsense. So you mean to tell me that your success as an individual is based on the non-progression of our group as a whole? And this is something that you don't want to discuss in front of people. You only want to go behind the scenes and organize behind the scenes, but you don't want to come out here and explain this shit to nobody. To me, I told you, I don't give a fuck about nobody on child support. That's a personal issue. If your personal issue, if you wanted to actually upgrade your personal issue to an actual interest, interests are on the ballot. Corporations don't give a damn how many tax cuts they got. You want they know? You know what they want? Even more tax cuts. They're not called tax cuts though, but it's considered tax cuts. It's still a removal of revenue from the state. And you know what they do? They organize, they lobby for it, and it's on the ballot or it's getting passed through the legislature. Why? That's how interest works. Interest can be tracked. Did you know that? Your interest can be tracked. You know what can't be tracked? People in the middle. Can't be tracked. Can't be traced. But you want to know what everyone else is doing. You know what else cannot be tracked? Personal interest. Your personal interest can't be tracked. Nobody knows or cares about your personal interests. They care about things that you organize around and things you lobby for. So when you try to leverage everybody else's participation in the process without you participating yourself, you're playing everybody for a damn fool who you're actually talking to who are participating in the process. I can tell you right now, it doesn't matter what job you do. If you hear somebody come up to you trying to BS you about the job that you know that they ain't doing, you can see immediately and right away that they're full of it. You can see it immediate and right away that they're full of it. Especially when they come to the conversation saying the same thing over and over again. Haven't cracked the book, haven't known the history, haven't tried to track down any type of documentaries or anything else. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna drop the link, see who comes up. Because at the end of the day, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. I ask to be challenged all the time. If you disagree, come up. We can have a discussion. But at the end of the day, people are embarrassed about what they think because they can't defend what they think. They can't defend what they believe. And they can't show the efficacy of what they believe. They cannot explain the process to anybody. They cannot explain the end goal to anybody. Why? They have no end goal. The end goal is stir up as much nonsense as possible, try to grow the audience off of problems, never solve any problems. Men don't have a problem discussing issues and executing to solve them. But if your whole existence is based on keeping these problems going, then you're always going to be an impediment to progress. You're always going to be an impediment. Again, this is less about a 26-year-old. It is more about a structural system that actually works and functions. So that way you don't have to go to a 26-year-old to solve a 30 and 40-year-old problem. Actually, at this point, it's 50 some years. At this point, there's really no rationale for people to be coming online having conversations that are not women. Women are the beneficiary of, conversations about relationships, not men. Remember, you have to approach women to get value out of her. She sits back and waits for men to approach her to get value out of you. So discussing the relationship conversation doesn't make any sense from a man's point of view. Unless you want to lie about the exploits that you get out of the relationship conversation, then it makes sense for men to actually have those conversations. It makes sense for men to have those conversations at that point. If they're literally trying to keep her power going. Because that's why men have those conversations. They're trying to empower the same women that they claim they're trying to stay away from. Hold on a second. Oh, she, we here. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? I literally be saying the same thing, like being productive. Even with Pearlie, Austin, both of those two young just caught a wave. And as soon as they actually caught that wave, you had swarms of older people, younger people following them. I
Jumping in
mean,
the pool, jumping in the young person pool. That shit was pathetic.
even with Austin, he caught a wave, and I'm like, okay, he picks up something, and this is a thing now. Okay, well, why don't you learn a little more before you start doing more videos? But people like the way he talked. People do like the way he presented it. I mean, I even talked to my cousin this weekend. He was like, "Yeah, I know about that guy. He babbles on. He never really gets to the point, but he has some good, decent conversations." I say, so if he never gets to the point, well, how is it a decent conversation? Because what he's saying is relevant to now. And I'm like, but other people are saying the same thing. You just listening because it's from a young guy. Even with Pearlie, the same thing. I mean, you have the same guys in the Manusphere having all these same points that she makes, but because she's a woman, oh man, she feels our pain. No, she just regurgitating the same thing. Another guy
That you
said,
already
but you
know,
didn't like
man.
it. Yeah, you don't like this guy over here saying it, but you like her saying it because you got some kind of issue with this guy over here. But you'll go ahead and watch her and praise her, cash out her. Like, hey, what is it? Cash out wars or whatever. Like all these guys are
Cash
battling.
App Wars. What?
Like who can get the most subscribers. Like even this whole challenge when I first came to this space, when I started hearing guys talk about, well, how many subs you got? You can't talk to me if you don't have this many subs. So you're
Yeah,
validated
well,
by your subs. Okay.
and
So
and not the strength of your arguments, not anything you put out, none of that stuff. Like it never really made sense to me.
yeah.
But as a dude of substance, I don't have to worry about things that don't make sense. I can just see that these people ain't really on it, and that's just the way it is, man. It's just that dude. Like I don't even run into these type of dudes in my real life for that matter, because if he's not on some substantive shit, I'm out of there right away. It's not gonna take all day for me to get out of these people's faces. It ain't going to. So that's where we at. It's like they have to go to these younger people to solve their own issues. It's kind of like when people horrifically socialize younger people into saving their community or all this shit that is not young people's responsibility. You put too much on these fucking young ass people, man. Like, I get the attention aspect of it, but it's pretty pathetic to just think that a simulacrum of somebody agreeing with everything that a man says is the reason why you stop all of your progress to take your ass over there and look at this shit. I think it's fucking stupid. But that's just me. That's just me. A lot of people don't want to take responsibility for their actual interactions with these actual things. But at some point, it's damaging the entire environment and the actual strength of masculinity in whole. Because if we keep creating these dudes who want to keep compromising, what does that do for the dudes that don't compromise? And so many times I get approached and people just think I'm some average bitch ass nigga because this is the type of shit they do to other dudes all the time. Like, nah, we're not doing that. Like, you see that right there? That's who I'm with. Oh, yeah, like, yeah, oh, yeah. I know how I know the strength of this shit. You know, crazy. What's going on, Mr. G's world? What's going on, man?
Good evening, fam. Appreciate you for having a good stream as usual, man. Wow, just the entire thing, man. Um, we're gonna need some. Not that we're gonna need, but I would love to um see some of these highly intellectual guys that I know there's been a few people that they were working on their PhDs and things of that nature. So they will cover this space and they will talk about it. I wish somebody will succinctly just study this entire debacle, right? And actually come up with some findings for us because I think this sort of highlights the weakness and failure of black men and some of us as black people. The desperate need for validation is crazy to me.
Through listening to the relationship talk. It's not just a desperate need of validation. I understand the desperate need of validation. You know, you're raising in a society that don't value men. So rather than not finding solutions for your problems, you find simulacrums of things to put your time into that's never going to pan out to any type of solutions. Like, you can't tell me that you tuned in to this person and all of a sudden the time that you wasted is somehow is going to end up being some type of a good result. Like, I don't understand that. I really don't.
But how it's okay. There are some guys that are, these are not like young spring chicken, right? You look at a guy like Obsidian, he's not like a 22-year-old man like the brother was talking about Austin. That's a whole different tobacco, right? Because just
Yeah,
pretty things sort of exactly reminds me of him. And I really don't mean to bring his name up because I'm in the travel space and I'm one of the first, if not the very, very first person who've gotten a lot of hit just for criticizing him. Not
yeah,
because out of hatred for him, but I saw the copy and paste. The copy, and this is the best way I can the term I can put it in. The copy and paste mode. You can tell these people are operating on copy and paste because when it comes time to have a discussion or some pushback with them, there's no substance behind the bullshit that they're saying.
yeah. But you have to understand that a lot of these men are attracted to no substance as a baseline level of operating. That's why I don't worry about them. That's why I don't. I'm really reserved about what I think should happen to him, but it's going to happen to him anyway. Another way that he moves. So just wait. But at the end of the day, he quit real life to go do this shit online. Like, a lot of these dudes wanted the culture war to keep going. That's what they wanted. They wanted somebody else to fight this culture war and not the people that they normally listen to. You have to understand that. Like, a lot of these people cannot move forward as people. They're stuck in this zone.
It's interesting you saying that too, because um, I noticed now it's not some sort of definitive research that I've done, but I noticed, through, old man having his stream right yada, and some of the people who are super chatting, I noticed some of the characters are like the exact same characters who support the young man we were just now speaking about. It's like they have the exact same mindset. It's like the exact same crowd, right? You know,
Next thing you know, all the player dudes are over there in this shit because they trying to run all the same old game on fucking the women. This is why I just like, look, man. Individuals know what they're doing. They know what they're about when they're over there, and I'm cool with it, man. Like, bro, listen, freedom is going to bring on people who's not going to understand what the hell is going on. Like I said, man, like, a lot of these people have integrity based issues because they've been in a situation where they have to be as free as possible and let as much bullshit go on as possible so that way they can get their shit off, man. It's sad, it's weak, but that's what you got.
Let me ask you a question, MOT. Do you think? I think I kind of know the answer because we've seen the chats tonight. Do you think if there were no monetary benefits incentive, um, do you think it would have been this exact same thing? I know what I'm saying sound maybe a little bit stupid because a lot of these people they're driven by the money, right? But do you think because I'm really trying to dig deep to give these guys some benefit of doubt. I really am because as a black man with some integrity, right? It it frightens me. It frightens me the way these guys they're so comfortably willing to tell you, well, this shit here makes money. So these same guys, they will have no problem if you give them a pack, they take it home, work it, and sell that crack to their family. They will have no problem doing it.
The reason why I don't get upset about what people think, I just know where they're at. I know what they're on, and I don't have to even ask them about anything else. Because I know a lot of these people are economically compromised, and they're willing to economically compromise, and they love seeing that compromise to other people. Because remember, they are not inherently productive. They are not inherently creative. The only thing they use their creative things to do is try to get into half measures rather than take full measures to get a full result. So I don't really, I'm not really all that shocked and surprised because I know what the results are at this point. That people just literally lack the actual integrity to have follow through on specific things. So they'd rather see an environment be destroyed rather than following a specific actual rule to actually get somewhere that they need to be. I know what these people are on. I don't even worry about it. I can't tell you that I'm not even concerned all that much about it because these people know full well what they're on. They know what they're on. They're not that stupid. Stupid, yes. That stupid, I don't know about that.
Yeah, but the crazy part about it is they know what they're doing, just like you saying about selling the whole thing for us the crack wise. It's a motivational thing that kind of gets them up to, they're looking at a scene of where I'm trying to help the community do this and that. Well, if you want to help the community, MOT says it best. Do something positive for yourself. Go ahead as a man. Basically, that was the whole thing of reference when I came into the space looking at how guys were talking about money and stuff. I'm like, okay, well, these guys are helping the other guys build and all this stuff. Then you got old old man telling everybody Pearl is giving jobs to men and other channels are not giving jobs to men. Well, seeing that she has banked from her dad and all this other stuff, of course, if most well, I wouldn't even say most, but to a degree, if you had yourself in a position, you would help other guys. That's how you do it. I mean, I've talked to guys, gave them information wise, even positions to look at with job, but it's up to them ultimately. If you ain't got no type of, hustle or kind of motivation about yourself, I can't help you do that. I can't hold your hand, take you to the job, fill out the application, tell you sign your name, ask you your birthday and all this stuff. No, this is some things that you have to do as a man. If you're not taught by your parents or if you even been taught by me, and I'm not gonna drag you along through the whole process. There's some things you're gonna have to learn how to do on your own. And a lot of these guys, they don't want to do nothing but the whole SBE movement because it's even better to just say, well, I'm not having a good deal with the ladies. So let me go over here, get this job. Let me go over here and work in the IT. Let me do something better of myself. And if I can't get the ladies, then this whole passport thing, maybe I'll try that out because why I have the money. Like I told you last time, if guys are struggling to save up to get their passports, where are you gonna go to? If you got to
Dude,
spend three thousand
dude,
dollars on a ticket, where you going?
I'm not even concerned about dudes and a passport situation. That's all personal shit that they want to do with their time. I don't think that a lot of people want to inherently get their shit together so that way they can get all that stuff together. I think most of these dudes are lying about this shit. They're just trying to troll the women with it, and you can tell by their content. The very few people who actually done the passport shit moved on to talk about something else other than playing what the women said and then fucking responding to it like that's some fucking content. It's like, dude, listen, if you already left these people alone, what is the actual point of doing shit like this other than gaslighting these people who don't need to be gaslit at all? And it's to me, it's just too much to deal with. You know, I didn't come here to babysit people, but I'm not gonna let credentialed people get off the hook by trying to have bullshit level fucking conversations rather than trying to fix it because they know what the process is. They follow the process to get their PhD. They had to present some level of knowledge. They had to actually write rebuttals and all this shit. But now dudes want to come online, be cool ass street people, and have bullshit ass conversation, and be master teachers and don't really want to do shit and want to leverage all this foolishness. I'm just sick of this shit, man. I'm way past sick of it. A lot of these dudes just want to be free bitches for whatever reason, and it's something that we shouldn't even be into as men at this point. That's that's where we at. It's something that never should have happened. But these dudes are literally trying to stagnate the entire populace so that way they can keep their grift going. I don't think it's monetary. I don't think it's monetary. There's a level of appreciation that people get out of this and the adulation that they get out of this shit online that they don't get in real life. That's the payment. That's the payment. Unfortunately, that is the payment for these dudes. Is people looking at them like they're leaders and shit. That's the sad part about it. Like I'm telling you, anybody raised in a two-parent household isn't isn't really turning a son or daughter on to 26-year-olds or 23-year-old dudes to help them get shit. They're not doing that. They literally are not doing that. But for some reason, that's just what it is, man. You can't really do all that much about it. Because these dudes have decided that they want it to be unpressible as hell, and there ain't shit you can do about that. So what can you literally do if dudes have decided to get rid of their actual productivity piece to stagnate and ride out this relationship piece? I mean, you can't really help people like that. I don't think you can, and I don't think you should. But at the end of the day, people look at this stuff as entertainment. I don't think it's all that much entertaining at all, period. Because, at some point, you got to be responsible for the shit you put out.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like, with people who've never um really had really a successful relationship. I have a friend of mine. He's a retired Marine officer, and whenever we're talking about relationships, and I'll mention something, he's like, "Stop! Does this man have had a successful relation? Does he have history of having successful relationship?" Now, this is a brother who had been married like for 30 years, divorced. Now he's just spent 13 years in DR and he's trying to move back to the States. He has the lived experience to teach me something, to tell me something. Going to a person who's never even had a successful, not really a long-term successful boyfriend and girlfriend relationship, let alone a marriage, going to that person for some sort of marriage boot camp or whatever the heck she planned on calling it, it's really crazy, especially in these modern days. In these modern days, if you cannot relate to the person, how are they supposed to listen to you? You have no work. You have no proof of concept. And
And
this
that's
space
why,
here. Go
uh,
ahead.
and that's why she can't go anywhere with this shit. She can't go anywhere with this shit. Like there are no $1 million clients who, oh shit, like dude, just agreeing with somebody is not a concept. It isn't. It is for pathetic ass human beings. Would you really want to deal with a doctor who just agreed with everything that you said when he's supposed to be the person diagnosing you, not not him just agreeing with you? No, you think something wrong with this actual setup, and you be trying to get the hell up out of there before you end up dying over some preventable shit, right? But this is just where we at. I mean, a lot of these people are here to build a platform. They have no fucking integrity. They keep up these associations with these nonsensical BS artists, and they just want to be the next person who benefit over it, like the last person. Once you understand that, all this shit is easy after that, man. Very easy.
Yes, yes, crazy man. It's gonna be very interesting to see because she mentioned, if I'm not mistaken, something regarding to, I guess, a family member that deleted himself or whatnot. And this is the first time I'm not a fan of hers, and I haven't listened to all of her videos and streams, but that's the first time I've heard her actually bring that up. And I know there's a sister.
Yeah, I mean, sympathy card, man. Nobody gives a fuck about people who deleted themselves and their fucking family. This shit is about her also fucking bullshit out here, and these motherfuckers paying attention to it like they're being helped by this shit. Like, I don't give a fuck about the deletion shit. It doesn't make what the fuck she's doing any more legitimate. But a lot of these people want to look to these individuals to have these type of bullshit ass conversations. And that's the shit that it's like, look, okay, all right. So if you don't believe in the reparations piece, then what the fuck are we talking about here? I mean, but you have to have the conversation. And she was up there, and you see how many people wanted to, tell her to don't apologize for the stupid shit that comes out of her mouth. Like that's what I'm saying. And most of these dudes are fucking nihilists, which I have to do a whole live stream on nihilism so people can understand the benefits and the drawbacks from being with and around people who believe in this dangerous ass concept, given enough context of the actual understanding of it.
Yeah. So there's the sister did a stream the other day. She played some videos of her former friends. And some of the examples in content that JPT makes, she's referring to such and such person, and then the girl was like, she's talking about me. Even her ex-boyfriend, who's a very, that's one of the things I've noticed people haven't even found out or talk about in this space. Her ex-boyfriend is like very big on TikTok. He got like 27 or 23 million followers, right? And all of these people are now coming out. They're like, look, I used to know her. I mean, I dated her when I was dating her. She was nothing like this. She never talked about any of these stuff. And then her friends, her homegirl that used to be friends with her, they're like, look, this is our picture when we're growing up. I've known her such and such. She's never espoused any of these views. So it's going to be she. If I were her, if I were a friend of her and I did actually care, I will call her and tell her you need to tread lightly because what's going to go okay, what's going to happen is there's going to be somebody who has lived experience with her, who know her, who got proof, and then they're gonna come on social media and they're going to distance themselves from her. And the way they're gonna distance from themselves from her is going to leave her very naked.
No, I don't think it matters because remember, you don't need credibility to do this. You don't need credibility to do this. These people are beyond credibility. You don't need credibility. You don't even need a background. You don't need nothing. You don't even need results to do this sort of thing. So I kind of push back on that. Like I don't think it matters. End of the day, these people wanted to go to incredulous sources in order to receive definite resolutions for things, and I don't think it even matters what the background is. I think that these people just don't even care. To be quite honest, they'll do anything to feel quote unquote good, as somebody said on my live stream. I had to kick them out of my chat because this is not a place for you to feel good. It's a place for you to actually fix the shit and get this stuff done, so that way you can stop needing to feel good by showing up the bullshit level conversation. But that's just where we at, man. Like a lot of these dudes are just real fucked up in the head, and they think that listening to this bullshit until a better bitch come around is how this stuff's gonna work. Knowing that's not how it's gonna work. Better woman's not coming around, man. She's not coming to the rescue. She's not coming to save you. None of that shit. It ain't even happening. But most of these people have no integrity, man. That's what it is. They're here for the popularity piece because popularity doesn't need substance. That's what it is,
So,
man. They don't give a fuck.
so what do you think of the divide? Because I started seeing a bit of
What kind of divide?
split of split of opinions within the quote unquote black manosphere, whether it's
Opinions on
the
what?
regarding to her.
No, I think the bitch and nigga class was always gonna lay down the fucking it was always gonna lay down the actual protection for her. Like it was nothing that was gonna be shocking to anybody. This is what these dudes wanted. This is what they was on. So, and it was another way to try to get at black women about it too. Like they kept trying to push her into this argument to where she was gonna answer for the black women content creators. That's what that shit was on too, which I don't understand. That somehow she was supposed to be able to solve some sort of issue with the black women content creators. The thing was, man, they have a very weak move to try to bring these women back to the table to argue with them about what reason. I don't know what that reason is.
Yeah, because I noticed there's a few differing opinions within the space. It's gonna be interesting to see how that sort of plays out. But I feel like, like you said, these alpha bravo Novembers, they're always gonna do what they do. I mean, they're always gonna do what they do, whether they disagree here and there. They're always gonna be about the same unproductive mindset. They're not gonna be about actually taking actions and actually, trying to implement the change about the shit that they keep on whining about. It's always gonna be that, obviously.
Yeah, man, I don't even expect these people to solve these problems, to be quite honest with you. I expect them to be caught up and actually destroyed by the things that they claim that they don't want. So I'm the reason why I'm doing this is to set out that look, man, these people are full of shit. They're not here to solve any of the problems that they claim that they're trying to solve. And the only thing is that it's being laid out there bare because it wasn't laid out for me either. I had to live this whole life thing thinking that I was doing it wrong. Turns out I wasn't crazy. These people were nuts. Yeah, that's all it was, man. But at the end of the day, you gotta leave people to their own devices, and you have to keep pushing the message out there that, hey, man, look, anybody can get their shit together, and also everybody cannot get their shit together and wait for somebody else to do it for them. Everybody can wait on dumb shit like that. It doesn't work. Never has worked. Oh, so. But you see, my conversations end discussions. A lot of people don't want to end a discussion. They want to come out here and have the same fucking discussion over and over again, or else just keep arguing with women until they give up their own power. That's not how that works, man. She's not giving up shit. Nor do I endorse her giving it up. Not for these type of people. So you got anything
Yeah.
else, man, before we get up out of
The
here?
Yeah, let me say this. One last thingy before we get off here. The brother that came on that stream and he asked her, I think it was Sly. He asked her a question regarding her proximity to black people. That was very telling. That was very telling.
I think I
And
stopped watching at that point. Could you retell what that was? Because I
he
stopped watching
asked
it.
her, he asked her, um, growing up, what was her proximity to black people?
Okay, okay.
When did she started having, then the only she couldn't even answer that question. If you could go, I mean, it's right there on the slide in where slide was interacting with him. The only thing she could say was that, well, I was on some sports team, yada yada, in high school where I grew up in mostly and she said it out of her own mouth around predominantly white neighborhood. So that right there tells me a lot. And then Sly was like, because she couldn't answer the question, so he was like, so it's fair to say that your interaction proximity to black people, it's within the last 5 6 years. She's like, I don't know. She said, I don't know. She said, I don't know. He's like, well, I'll take it. I'll take it for that. That was very telling. That was very telling because
It's not very telling. It's very telling for the stupid motherfuckers who show up there thinking that they're going to get an answer, and this was the actual substance behind the actual conversation. So it's very telling that yes, she said that because she probably didn't have an answer for it. Because it does make a lot of sense that why on earth would you have this clientele of people that you don't really give a fuck about and that you were never really raised around, and then it just really just says a lot about the personnel who show up to the actual conversation thinking they're being helped because they can't explain it. Because if she can't explain why the fuck she's around these people and they can't explain it, so what are we dealing with here, man?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Well, it is already very interesting to see the defense force that she had. That may almost made me honestly. I'll be honest with you, that almost made me want to throw up. The defense force, even by the people that was interviewing her, and then the people that were super chatting. Oh, you did nothing wrong, yada yada, and you can tell. And people keep asking, is she racist? I think that's not the right question. The most important question is she anti-racist? Is she anti-racist?
No,
And
I think that's a dumb question to ask her because
it's obvious she's not.
I mean, through having Nick Fuentes on there, dude, you know what fucking shit she's on, man. There ain't no like of all the conservative members in the entire planet, you pick that guy to fucking have a conversation with. Like, come on, man. Like, hey, come on.
No, I'm only saying that because now that with what Buddy just did yesterday and today, it's sort of like, well, let's give her the benefit of doubt type of approach, right? That's what they're doing, right? And which I feel like is very stupid. Talking about, oh, is she racist? That is such an easy question to answer because it's not really, there's not a strong definitive way of determining that unless you follow that person long
I mean, no,
enough,
that's not a
whatnot.
test. They're not a test. We don't know anything about her personally. I think the question is fucking stupid as shit. To be quite honest with you, to be like, oh, is she racist or not? I'm like, I don't think that fucking matters. Yeah, I think it matters from how comfortable she was around that fucking dude on her fucking show. That you don't need to ask questions when you see actual out buddy. I mean, but it could have been some social comedian shit to make him feel comfortable to talk about it, and it just took a wrong turn. I'm just saying that I wouldn't have nobody around me who even would be listening to no fucking dude like that. But that's just me, man. But at the end of the day, a lot of these people are there. She's the number one person that most people are subscribed to on my channel, which was very telling. That people didn't want to hear from men who actually have made it past this shit. They're looking for another fucking excuse to go back into things that they already know that they shouldn't be a part of. And they kind of waste a lot of time of minds, and that's what the actual issue is. Yeah, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
What's going on?
Nothing. Still a little perplexed about what's happening because I called it kind of
Perplexed.
4 months ago, and people
Really?
was, yeah. You didn't
Okay,
see
what'd
the
you call
stream
4 months
idea?
ago?
Uh,
What?
yeah. It was about a situation that she had with a coach, where he got fired, and
Oh, okay. You talking about the Me Too shit? Then.
yeah, and people
Oh,
act
okay.
like they didn't know where they got the story from,
I mean,
or
but Bernard Riley was like dismissing the shit like the dude didn't have valid claims or some shit, man. Like I was looking at Super Slide do like a play by play of that, and I'm like, this dude can't really be serious about what the fuck he's saying, right? And it's like, this is kind of ridiculous. It's like this why I say this whole red pill shit is stupid as fuck. Like 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 if you're still gonna go around and still do the same shit, if you're gonna still go to incredulous sources and just believe them out of the benefit of the doubt, like what the fuck are we talking about here? Like why do we
mm-hmm.
waste so much time here if these dudes were still going to give the same benefit of the doubt to the people that they claim that they didn't want to be with? That's the shit I have a very hard time understanding.
But I mean, people have done more egregious things. in the space and said more egregious things in the space, and it's just business per usual. This is just the gamut of the press gamut, I guess. Something we got to go through first.
Yeah, but I mean, this shit is unneeded though. It's really unneeded on so many levels though. You have to admit that.
Are
They're
you talking
like getting
about
this
like
shit.
the backlash she's getting?
Yes, unneeded.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, I
because
don't really see. I don't honestly. I watched it. I watched it a few times, and not once was I like, "Oh my god, this woman's a racist." Never. I just don't.
this is what I expect
I've
out of most people who are
experienced
white.
racism, so no.
Yeah, I'm like shit. I'm from Mrs. I'm like this ain't. I'm like she just was buddy and friendly with with some incredulous dude. It really wasn't.
And she didn't really say it. I felt like she was mid laugh, and it was like, I don't.
That's what it was. Yeah, that's what it was. Well, that's what
Mhm.
I saw too.
But let me
Yeah,
ask you guys a question, like sister. You said like a couple months ago, because I remember when that whole thing went down, and even Obsidian, he had a stream about it where, yeah, I mean, obviously he was playing his role, right? He knew the assignment. He was defending her as
right. I
usual.
went up there and I questioned her, and
Mm-hmm.
then that's
Mm-hmm.
when I got the backlash, and black man literally dragged me.
And and they tried to
It happened
juxtapose it
today too.
as, and they tried
It
to
happened today too.
and they tried to juxtapose the whole thing a couple
I
months
fell
ago
asleep, so I
as,
don't know. I guess I
yeah,
got.
as the sisterhood versus her, when it wasn't that. And when it was them, it was in the interest of, I will say, interest of black men to actually know this lady's background on her Me Too activities, but they turn the entire thing as, the sisterhood versus her, yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
But back then, to be honest with you, I knew she was full of crap. But I'll be honest with you, I didn't have any confirmation that she will be so disturbing with the obvious anti-blackness, obvious racism. Like I couldn't tell she was out there like that. She is kind of out there.
I mean, you have to like she's just normally involved with people that she just really don't care anything about overall, man. That's all it is. It's not even that hard to even. It's not even that hard to even get. There's no way she can give a fuck about these people, given how much she don't even know about these people at all. And that's just where we're at. Like a lot of people want to like bypass the shit because again, most of this shit is building an audience off of in order to grift off of later. So that's what most of this shit is about. A lot of these dudes don't even give a fuck about none of these issues. To be quite honest with you, they just don't care.
MOT, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
I don't like this victim mentality over me. This banner.
Oh shit! Hold on a second. What the fuck?
I ain't a fucking victim.
Hold on a second. Well, that's nice.
Thank you. Like, what a damn victim.
Hopefully that's you for real. What's going on? No,
Hey, how are you?
I'm all right.
That's good. That's good. I just came up real quick to say this. Like, a lot of people don't even really know what's going on with this woman. Hate everybody on the panel
Yeah.
because a lot of black women don't watch that content. To be quite honest,
I
it's
know it's not black
content
women because I
that
don't have that many women subscribers, and the ones I do have, they talk to me behind the scenes. They get their son straight, and they're the fuck gone. So it's not the women. It can't be the women. You know.
exactly. And I mean, this just speaks to the fact that most people in these spaces are not really focused on improving themselves or improving the state of the African American male.
No, they're
They're
not.
focused on the pursuit.
It's that's obviously the case, but I just want to let people know of running out the clock of all the arguments possible so that way you can just get the fuck on with your life and move on and not team up with these people for no reason and just keep your shit that you gained to yourself because like a lot of these people was eventually going to come back and pretend like there was going to be the answer to all the problems that they caused.
Right, exactly.
eventually.
And I mean, right. Her ability to remain detached in conversations and just focus on whatever talking points that she's using is because she doesn't have any emotional attachment to any conversations. This is literally just work for her. And people have catapulted her to a really high level of fame, which is why I was like, well, when people didn't like her, I understand why they talked about her. You're making her famous, and she's making a bag, and now people are in their feelings. Why are you in your feelings? It's 2023. Are we not aware of what's happening?
I mean, but
Thank
I
you,
just think
MOT,
it's
for having
people.
me. Have a
Oh, no
good
problem.
night.
It's all right. All right, have a
Mhm.
nice
Have a
one.
good
Yeah,
one,
but
sis.
I,
Uh,
I think it's personally weird that individuals try to act like they give a shit post hoc, but my analytics are not lying, man. She's the number one subscribed person to. I mean, she was like, I think I looked at it like last month. She was like number three, which I thought was weird, and then I looked at it last week and she was number one. So it's like of all these, like active subscribers, it's probably like 5 or 6 thousand. If I translate my videos and then I go to like a whole nother group of people, but I don't translate all my videos, especially when I talk about black shit. Nobody gives a fuck about that. But yeah, that's what it is. Like most of these people, like like most of the people who are subscribed, they don't really give a shit about this relationship argument. They want to get to the actual money and all that kind of other shit. But it's like every time you look around, these pathetic ass dudes who are actually representing me too, right? But just pulling my ass back into the. But you have to explain the shit. Otherwise, there's no context, and people don't understand what's really going on.
MOT.
I,
He's. Oh, go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think people do understand what's going on. But I think the fact that people have great disdain for women that they cannot attain, they don't really care the methodology that they use. They're willing to use any tool necessary, any tool available to punish women that simply didn't want to be with them.
I mean, but what's the effective strategy? Because I don't understand the end goal. I don't understand it. Okay, so all right. So let's role play. Let's say that you're the woman that I can't get. How is me
Hmm.
complaining about you not wanting me? How is that going to give me access? Do you have a plan for me?
That's going to not get you direct access, but it's
That's what I'm
also
saying. This
going
shit's
to.
crazy.
But listen, this is the end game. It's going to tarnish the way that the woman that doesn't want you is viewed by other men that may want her.
I'm just saying
See how
that
that works?
yeah, but I don't understand the. Okay, all right. What's the timeline then? What's the timeline?
It don't,
What's the
they don't want
timeline?
the women.
Yes, what's the
The women
timeline
that don't want them.
of me
Go ahead.
complaining
No, go
about
ahead.
you? Okay, so what's the timeline of me complaining about not having access to you? What would be an acceptable timeline that I would be like, look, man, look, I've been talking about or to this woman or about this woman for what a sad period of time. It's been 2 years. What would be enough time for me to be like, look, man, something's real wrong with this dude because he's still talking about this woman that he don't have any experience with, no access to, but it's all his content is centered around her. At what point do you say this person need to be institutionalized or fucking really checked out?
Well, I mean, I don't know these type of men, air quote men, that are on these social media platforms complaining like this. Because the men that I've been exposed to, that I know in life, men that are handling their business, aren't really crying over spilt milk. Somebody didn't want them, they didn't really care because they're moving around to the next situation that's going to benefit them. The problem is that a lot of men nowadays are just, they're not good at basic communications and interactions with people of the opposite sex. But I want to hear what Mr. McGee had to say. Mr. Gee.
Yeah. So what you said regards to these guys, and what you said is correct, right? It's not going to lead to anything. There's a brother here in the space. He has a term called SBE, Ramil, shame, blame, and explain. So he's come to the conclusion all these guys are doing is shame, blame, and explaining to these women, and these women don't give a damn what it is just is what it is. Get in where you can fit in. And some guys refuse to deal with that. Some guys are like, I'm gonna do as much. I don't know what kind of damage that is, because you're on social media, but at the same time, MOT, as I said earlier, some of these guys, I really do worry about them. Like after today, I mean, this is something I should have seen, because you often talk about it, MOT, but I didn't realize how grave it is, because the strength of their pushback, of their disdain for obviously black women, it's kind of frightening. And some of these guys, low key, I'm kind of worried that they might do stuff to their family members. Like, low key, for real. It may
No,
sounds crazy.
I mean, I know that's for certain, but I mean, there's only like one level for this stuff to get redirected, and they go get a firearm and go gun up the place, and all of a sudden they gotta start checking everybody out. But I mean, this stuff is not a game, man. Like playing around with people's inability to find happiness is not a game. You have to be held responsible for this shit when it does go wrong. And today, I don't want to be responsible for that. I'd rather tell people the correct things that they ought to be doing and letting them know about all these dangerous individuals within this environment that is never going to be able to change, so that way you can make a good decision. Because right now, this whole culture has been laid out very bare in front of anybody who wants to see it. You have everything. You have everything here. You have the hood dudes here. You have the pretend players here. You have the educated dudes here with no interest or no access. You have the people who are indifferent here. You have every different archetype in Black America in this petri dish. And you can see how the non-productive people cannot interact with the productive people. You see how the people who are here, who are hood scholars and all that shit, they really ain't got their money together, and they always have to bring women into the conversation in order to have a conversation with dudes about anything productive, because talking about women is productivity to these people. So you have all these archetypes here, and you see that none of these pieces really fit together in this jigsaw puzzle. And it's like at some point you have to be able to just disengage and focus on yourself. Like they're trying to get noticed without them having their shit together, and that's not how that works. You still got to fix you, but they just want the wrong thing first in order to fix them. It's like, dude, there's no real prize waiting and fixing yourself outside of you just benefiting from it. But a lot of people want the prize of
So,
the attention from people in order to start, and I don't think that's how that works. Okay.
yes, but let me ask you a question. Why do you think for some men it appears as if the solution to all of their problems is a woman, especially when men use these talking points that, like, their mother wasn't it, their mother was horrible. They have children, they leave children with women they say that are horrible, and then it's the woman that is supposed to submit and fix everything. I'm so confused. The little bit I do
Well,
listen to is just mm-mm.
I mean, but it's the only thing they don't have any experience with. They have experience with not having access to a woman, so they think, okay, why don't I radically go into the other direction and get access to a woman that I never had access to, and then all of a sudden things are gonna work. As stupid as it
um
sounds, that's what it is.
I don't know, because it's like anytime I interact with people in these spaces, I'm constantly like, okay, well, accountability has to be on everyone. You have to stop having meaningless sex with one another, creating unwanted children. That's the core to a lot of the problems in our community, is the unwanted children. because unwanted
Hmm.
children become adults that are extremely maladjusted. And this is what we see on
As they
social
should be,
media.
as they should be. Well, but they also have to go to a level of problem solving that makes sense. Because a lot of people are trying to recreate the trauma through getting with the wrong type of person, correcting that real relationship before they move on. Like a lot of people have stopped and stunted their growth around trying to have access to the wrong type of person because they were raised around the wrong type of person and they couldn't have any control over it. So what they want to do is create the same scenario while they quote unquote have control over it somewhat and get that out of their system before they move on. But if you're not cultured to interact with the people who you're trying to interact with, you're going to be wasting a whole lot of time. And you're going to be pretty upset after this experience is over with because it's not going to be as special to you once you get the access that you claim that you want. That's why I'd rather people just move the hell on right away. Stop trying to thinking that putting yourself in a specific situation is going to solve any problems for you. It just is.
Well, again, there are certain content creators in these spaces that I have respect for, that are worthy to listen to, because y'all are giving it straight, no chaser. I can respect those type of conversations. But all these conversations that are centered around, yeah, but the women's, like I can't, because you can't be a leader at the same time that you're deflecting everything to women. In regards to this just Pearly thing, like, she came through and y'all gave her the toolbox on how to navigate this space and fleece y'all of all your money.
I mean, it's really
All the
not that
talking
hard,
points.
though. It's really not that hard.
No, it's not. It's not.
Yeah, like I said, it's
That's
just
why.
it's a matter of copy and paste. It's a matter of copy and paste, and you can tell the people that are actually that are actually having original thoughts. MOT, do you know even the analogy she made about the Karen? Do you know that's not even her true original thought?
Of course not. Like she's trying to bullshit her way through a conversation while being asked legitimate questions, and you have to
Bro,
understand that. I mean, that was very telling, but at the end of the day, you have to understand that men, men gave her this position because they never heard a woman completely surrender to just basic "I got a dick, therefore you should believe me" type of bullshit. It's a dream state that men think that they want until they try to practice that shit in the real world, and then it doesn't work at all. I mean, for her, it's easy to go to another country, even though she had a lot of subscribers here. Focus on the disaffected population of people that are not really checking for these people at all. Get an entirely huge audience based off of fake interactions with them. Like all this shit is fucking easy. It's easy as shit. And also to once you ask the specific questions about your interactions, like with Super Slides, you said ask her about her specific interactions with these people prior to this. I guarantee you, like if they were to go back to her hometown and they'll start talking to those people in that area, I guarantee you she said a lot of stuff that she don't want to come to light. And this is one of the things that happen once you once you get that eye on you. There's that criticism. Like Kevin Samuels, the same shit. Found out this dude didn't go to school, he didn't do none of that shit. Everything was just within the past couple years of his fucking life. And everybody's seeing it as legitimate because they are lost trying to look for meaning themselves and they're kind of in that, I'm just going to do this shit so that way I can make this shit pop at the end of my life. And it's just not realistic, man. It's not realistic. This stuff need to be in the hands of trained individuals who are licensed, bonded, and insured because you have to be able to move these people somewhere. Are there some bad counselors out there who actually just want to take your money so that way you can talk about the same shit? Probably. But you can't have people online who formulate these type of conversations doing the same shit. You just can't have that because you're going to be responsible for when some shit go wrong.
is this why some folks are starting to distance themselves from her or the space, which they've done in the past when they thought a certain group or pair of guys were going to get a Me Too. They hurried up and try to revoke some sort of imaginary Black Manosphere cards. Do you think that's why some folks are distancing themselves? They can kind of see this thing blow up real bad, and they don't want to be associated with that.
Not necessarily. Like most people who do that, they disassociate themselves for a while, and then they come right back. Like there's no way. Like for me personally, there's no way a O'Shea, an Obsidian, an Angry Man. There's no way anybody from 2.0, myself included, we can divorce ourselves from the actual manosphere. We've been here. We've built this place. Okay? There's no way you can just all of a sudden turn around and say that you don't want to be here or you don't want to be associated when all of your actual people are actually from here. It doesn't make any sense. Well, I mean,
Mhm.
at least not to me. I mean, but you can't divorce yourself from a place that you corrupted. I mean, I kept trying to keep my like my message really haven't changed over the past 5 years I've been here as a content creator, and probably like another what 3 before that. My message haven't really changed, and it doesn't need to change because it's the right message. They got results from my actual message, results from it, and I don't need broken men in order for me to have a business model. I don't need broken men like that. I need for them to find out what they need to be doing with their life and then move on. I mean, but a lot of people want to stay in this way station and it doesn't work.
Nah, nah, nah. Man of tomorrow, don't you understand that this is the assignment? They this is what they do every day. This is the
Yeah, but
totality.
I mean, like for full time YouTubers, of course they have to keep this shit going forever. They can't afford for people to get their shit together. I understand that too. Trust me, I understand that.
Right. So it's the ultimate like juxtaposition. There will be no change in the space that in order for there let me say this, not that there will be no change. In order for there to be a change in the space, people have to put the needs of the community over the needs of their pocket. And that's not going to it's not going to
Man, these
happen.
people ain't gonna do that shit. These niggas, no.
Like, it's just not gonna
You know
happen. I would
damn
just
well that
tell
ain't
them.
gonna happen, man. These motherfuckers are hitting that bank account. They looking in, they looking at that total total daily withdrawal balance, and that was like, do I want to do good? Nah, we'll keep this shit going. Hey, I mean, it's like any other level of exploitation. You have a baseline level of people who you actually depend on, and everybody else is just there. I mean, it's just that if people are unwilling to divorce themselves from individuals who keep this type of shit up, it's kind of no way to even justify shit changing. I mean, it's an individual process. It's still an individual process. It doesn't matter. You still gonna have to make this time to actually make this change. And a lot of people have actually decided that this actual change is going to be done with other people and not them. That's what it is.
Yeah, Emil, let me say this real quick, then I'm gonna get out of here, man. Get ready for work. Um, you know what happened? A lot of these guys, their approach is that, well, look at this lady. She has all these subscribers. She got the numbers. Let me
Subscribers
try.
isn't credibility though. It isn't credibility.
It's not. Well, I know. I know that. Oh, I know that. It's funny that you said that. I remember I was talking to my little cousin. He shared some content with me. I'm like, what the heck this guy talking about? He's like, but he got a lot of subscribers. I'm like, are you serious? You trying to validate the bullshit he's saying through his subscriber numbers? That's crazy. But that's not what I'm trying to say. But I think a lot of people are assessing it like this. She's the popular name. She has the numbers. She got the algorithm on lock. Let me try the cloud chase and be nice to her, and perhaps the same thing can happen. And I think they're making a big mistake, because just because somebody is popular and you're trying to dick ride them, and you're trying to, like, maybe they'll be nice to me, maybe they'll do a show with me, then my channel will grow. It doesn't work that way, because there are some things in the back, as far as YouTube algorithm goes. There are some things that are not as people think. They don't work the exact same way. Like, guys will be very disappointed, because it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work, because you see these channels. You see a channel with big numbers, and you'll see a channel with, like, moderately decent numbers, and you'll see the interaction in the money or super chat, that channel's pulling is way more than a channel that's like 4 or 5 times bigger than them. So the algorithm doesn't necessarily work that way. Just because you have somebody who's popular, they come see you on your podcast or whatnot, they mess with you, they're your friends, it doesn't mean your channel is going to grow.
Yeah, like I've seen like Passport Bro videos that have more views than Austin Holloman or anybody else who actually is a legit part of the movement and don't for control women online in total. I've seen videos with 300,000. I'm like, who the fuck are these people? Never even heard these motherfuckers before. And you're right. I mean, no, it's an organic thing that nobody else have access to or even understands outside of maybe MTR and the people who probably work for O'Shea and Angry Man or whatever. But that's just where we at, man. It's just that I didn't come here to do that, and it doesn't matter because a lot of these people think that popularity equal right, and you can't save people like that because they'll pay attention to anybody. Because guess what? Drug dealing pieces of shit were popular in the fucking community, and people believed everything that came out of their mouth and wanted to actually defend everything that
Mhm.
they did. So it's like at some point you got to get to the substance piece. But I think a lot of these people can't do that because they're too compromised and they too much invested into the actual other way of doing stuff, which is waiting for somebody else to do this shit for them. That's what it is. Like a lot of people are waiting for the grand outsourcing of their personal responsibility to other groups of people who are just not as invested as they are. That's just what it is, man. It's crazy, but as long as people understand this shit up front, you could be able to move forward very quickly. So
Craziness.
yeah, and think about it. It's not over. It's not over because these people are not done mortgaging their credibility. They're not done with that shit. They're gonna keep doing it until somebody puts them out, and they know ain't nobody gonna risk penitentiary chances to stop them from saying stupid ass shit. And I just say this: all these liberal men who just want to sit here and be on this whole shit, like, dude, they've already spoken already. They already spoken about how much they do not care about all of this stuff that they claim they cared about in the first place.
Hmm.
Nothing to actually worry about here. These people are already done. They're already spoken for. There's nothing you can really do. The only thing you can do is move on with your life because these people are going to keep logging in. They're going to keep logging on to the wrong type of person, expecting the right type of result, and you're not going to be able to help these people.
Do you
They
think it's
went where
kind
they
of
wanted to
like
go.
that?
Right.
Do you think it's kind of like dieting, like fads, right? So everybody's looking for a magic pill to like lose weight, be great, or whatever, and it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, it's
That
kind of like that Walmart aisle with like 50 different times types of like green coffee extract, man. Doesn't matter whether it's the chewables or the fucking tablets or the green looking pills or the other type of shit. The point is, this shit don't fucking work. You gotta get out there and work out, man. That's how that weight gets off, man. But they're like, well, shit, there's like 100 more items to try on this aisle, and that's where they at, man. So you can't really expect these people to have any level of results that they're not gonna personally work for. They always want to outsource it to other people because they could just say they could blame the product, not their own actions. The whole point is to not take any action, but blame the product itself.
Yeah, something they will just miraculously come down with the Kevin Samuel pack. They're trying to get that Kevin Samuel pack, and it's quite stupid, man, because even with this young lady here, it because I knew her when I knew when she was not as big as she is right now with the numbers she got going on. It's fair to say that because a lot of people have said it. Kevin Samuel, when he went viral and he became so big, COVID and the dynamics of COVID and life during COVID had a whole lot to do with it.
Totally lightning in the bottle status, man. Bro, you ain't gonna never redo that shit. You ain't gonna never redo that type of circumstance or situation. Even if there was an outbreak right now, people are not going back to the lockdown shit no more. It was a once in a lifetime thing. It was a once in a lifetime situation. And now that people have gotten out and got real experience, the people who don't have any intention of going out and getting real experience are the people who attracted to this bullshit in the first place. So that's the only thing I can say about that. I mean, they don't want real experience, man. They want to outsource it. They want to see people go through it. Like all this relationship shit, dude, is a major part of the fucking entertainment industry. Like the Oprah and the Zala Van Zandt and all that kind of crazy foolishness and shit. It's just like this stuff isn't just on YouTube. It's everywhere. Seeing these failed people trying to put them together in a situation that they're not privy to, it's everywhere. I was in Kansas City last week. Actually, no, week before last. And I was staying in a hotel because I took the weekend off. I turned on some shit. Right on the local TV was a dude talking to another dude about some relationship shit. It looked no different than it looked online. It was lame as fuck. It was a girl with some blonde ass fucking hair, some blue ass fucking contacts, and some dude looking like a clown. I'm like, God damn, that shit's everywhere. People are just showing off how stupid they are everywhere.
YouTube production.
I mean, but the shit was like on local TV,
Yeah.
and it's like, this shit is just everywhere, and it's low common denominator type shit. But that's where we are at, man. Like you can't really get these people off this shit. You can't because it's a major part of their life is being unfulfilled and undesired, and having no actual ability to get away from either one of those things.
Mm-mm-mm.
Yeah, man, it's gonna be very interesting to see how this entire thing plays out, man. The
I can tell you.
the
I can tell
obvious
you.
in your face disregard and laughs and let me play dumb like that there that has me really. And I know what you're saying, mot, that like come on, man, we knew all of this. There's nothing to be shocked about, but I'm more shocked at the reaction. And I know a couple months ago, like the sister was saying earlier,
Excuse
these
me.
things came
Ooh.
out, but
Oh, bless you.
bless you, the obvious
Thank you.
sheer um I'm laughing in your face. I'm gaslighting you in your face. I don't even have to work hard to gaslight you. That obvious thingy. Hey, let me play dumb. I don't even know what the ADL is, but I'm having this conversation type of thing. Like that, it is so weird, man. Like, and then you have grown men, like real grown men. Like guys gotta like have retired from the military because there's a few of these guys that work in corporations, leading people that are cheering this shit on. It saddens me because it really shows the depth. Because hearing about something and actually seeing it in action is two different things. Somebody telling you about something and then actually seeing it live is two different things. When people tell you how there are problems in our community and we have issues, you get to see it because this woman knows that, and I think she's exploiting that. She knows guys got a need for validation. He knows that. She knows that.
I mean, it's a fake conversation. I'm like, a 26-year-old cannot help you with things that are outside of her generation. She can't even probably help her generation of people, man. But at the end of the day, this is what people want to show up and actually do. It's part of the freedom piece. They want to have the freedom to go there and not have any resolutions to actually enter any of their issues. A lot of people came here to run away from reality, man. You have to understand that shit. A lot of people came here to run away from reality when there's simple fixes. Simple fixes is move on to a different person. Okay, now you're trapped in a relationship. Now you have to find other outlets of getting this shit off, and that's what it became. Getting getting your shit off of Sphere. That's what it became because these people ain't trying to move toward any solutions. Like an actual medical professional or someone like that would actually have the conversation around moving you towards some type of solution. They're actually that's what the shit's about. But these people, they're not trying to do that. They're trying to just keep these people kind of corralled into this space of infinitely gaslighting them and not really offering them any type of solution because this shit's normal to them. It's normal to not have solutions. To be stagnant, dude, this shit's normal to them. Really normal. And they can't do shit about it. I don't know how to help people like that. I'm not a medical professional. I definitely ain't got the facilities to help these people with. I don't know. I know this. They fucked out here until they don't want to be fucked and move on towards a solution. But a lot of these people are just not here for that. They are not here for that
They're
solution.
not. And I decided a little while ago, like, I can't be bothered with these circular conversations. Like, it's of a detriment to the community. And then you sit there, you wind up getting involved in these conversations, because you're hoodwinked and bamboozled. You understand what I'm saying? The narrative is this is a community issue and how do we fix the community? But as you sit and you interact and you engage and you start really listening to how some of these people talk, like in video, on their social media platforms, period, it's really not about a solution because a solution looks at the weakness at all aspects of the chain and it repairs the chain so that the chain can be one strong link. When you're constantly trying to justify the weakness in the chain, well, the chain is always going to be weak. But thank you so much for having me up here, Mr. Gee. It also was a pleasure talking to you. Y'all keep doing what you do. And I mean, maybe it's just time for separatism. Maybe it doesn't even need to be about a women's sphere, a man's sphere, or gender war. Maybe just needs to be people that are actually doing things that are actually beneficial to the community away from the people that just want to talk all day. I don't know.
No, I mean, but that separation has already happened. Like, this is why we're talking about things that are not part of our personal space. To be quite honest, it's not part of our personal space to be even engaged with or talking to this person. Like, we're not. I'm
Mm.
not a full time YouTuber who is dependent on male discontent in order for me to have a platform. I'm based on the actual progress piece, so that way we can stop this fucking shit from happening. But a lot of people can't do that, and they have to heavily leverage the actual pain collectively of these people in order for them to have a platform. So kind of at this point, it's just a snapshot in time. A snapshot in time where you've seen people chase down messages to the point to where they have to reset it to a 26-year-old to mask their own inability to move forward to some type of resolution. That's where we at
Mm.
this point in time, March 2023. Who know how lost we're going to be time after this? You don't know. So that's all I can be able to say on that
Nice.
particular issue. So with that said, you got anything else left you want to be able to talk about?
No, just thank you for having me up, and I
All
will
right, no
see
problem.
you again real soon. Good night,
All right, cool.
guys.
All right,
Good
later.
night. Yeah, I'm about to get off MOT, but yeah, I don't follow that individual, but it will be interesting to see if she will sort of I guess diversify the guests or so why what because I know these relationship talks, black
It's
folks have
very
them a lot.
limited. I mean, it's very limited.
Yeah, but
You're not gonna be able to do
why
this shit
can't she,
forever, man.
What can she go into the suburb neighborhood? I mean, I'm sure she has access to some resources
They're not gonna
in
tolerate her ass over there, man. They're not gonna do that. Like, and most of the people you see on these shows are minorities or people who are in minority relationships, man. Like mostly dominant society culture don't really allow their higher class people to even be betrayed like that. Period. They want to limit this type of discussion to like the lower annals of society. You know, that's what they want to kind of make it look like. So
Yeah, she needs to be careful, man. I don't know what her parents do or if their dad's
yeah,
some sort of CEO or whatever, but and I can kind of see, and not that I'm threatening or none of that, but you know how social media goes, right? You know, you hop on here, you saying a lot of reckless stuff, and before you know, you get to work tomorrow morning, and your boss is like, "Hey, man, come here, come to the office, let me talk to you," type of situation. You know what I'm saying? So, the stuff where she's, being, you can tell she's looking for shock value when she's now just a
this is her
26 year,
job. This is
just a
her
20.
job.
Yeah,
This is her
it doesn't
job.
make sense for a 26-year-old woman telling you, when she's like, "Oh, women shouldn't vote," yada yada yada. It's like it's
Hey,
really
hey, man,
far.
like, you can't say that shit out in public, man. I'm telling you, people come take your head off. Like I don't understand how removing women from voting would make shit better. If the men can't make better decisions, what the hell is taking away all the women's decision to be able to vote? Like most even extreme right people don't say stupid shit like that.
and,
So if
and
your
that's how you
family unit can vote and y'all can vote together and your numbers would be bigger, why on earth would you want to move a vote from somebody you have total control over in your household? That doesn't make any sense.
yeah, that's how you know she's looking for that shock value. It has to be because Mm, I've been hearing a lot of, and you have too. I've heard guys say that the whole women should have, but it's not a typical. It's not in the top mostly used talking points as far as in the written. I may be wrong, and like
It's
I said,
extreme as fuck, man, to just say
it,
that.
it,
Oh, I just believe
even
women
men,
should be voting.
yeah,
That's just
men.
crazy.
Yeah, even men in the space, I don't really hear men in this space say that a lot. And she has that one. She has like it's like she got a cheat sheet of the top 10 them thinking. If you watch that
I've heard
interview,
that specifically from certain men within the manosphere, but it's definitely an extreme point that I've
hmm
heard most black men say. It's a black men who say that type of shit. That you know what, if other people start participating, I have better chances type shit when it comes to voting. Now,
hmm
conservatives do it with actual, you know what I'm saying, legislation, but most dudes just talk about the shit and don't really follow through or
yeah,
put any
yeah.
type of anything else.
Yeah, she's completely out of touch, And in that interview, the cringiest thing that happened where Nick made some sort of reference to, going to colleges, yada yada, people going to college and not able to get degree. She dived straight into her talking points. Yeah, women getting these basket weaving degrees, yada yada. And it's not that I'm saying that's not true or some fact to it, but at
No, I mean,
times
but that's a lot of liberal arts education that is practically fucking useless. I'm not gonna
The-
pretend like it isn't, but
which is
for
true.
somebody to just boomerang to that shit off cuff, it's like, man.
Exactly. And he spun back. He spun back. And she probably, if I were her, like if I were her, I plan on keep on doing this. I will go back and rewatch that interview and actually study and take notes because she made herself look very dumb in in that interaction. Because when she said to, yeah, women, they always getting this basket weaving, and then the guy was like, well, stop. There are people getting degrees in STEMs,
Yeah,
having these, and she's it'll totally show you that she doesn't have any explanation behind these copy and paste talking points.
I mean, but it's meant to be surface level. It's not meant to be substance based. Because okay, where's your substance based argument in 2023? Like, dude, most feminists don't even say that type of shit. Most conservatives don't even say that type of shit. And
Yeah.
these are the people who who want women back in the fucking kitchen and shit, just tied up. You know what I'm saying? Baking cookies or what the fuck ever, man. Like they not even saying some stupid shit like
People
that.
that do the work.
Yeah, yeah, like the real
That's in the
people who are,
field.
yeah, and it's like it doesn't make any fucking sense to say stupid shit like this because there's no justification for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to be like, okay, okay, women don't vote. Okay, how do you get that passed? How do you get that passed? As a conservative, how the fuck do you get women not voting passed when you got conservative women in Congress right now? Who the fuck
Yeah.
is about to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think she's and this maybe sound simpish and feminist like for me to say this, but I don't think she doesn't seem like the type of young lady that has been around her peers of very, very, very educated women. I don't, it doesn't strikes me as that though. Or maybe she's just playing the role. She has to just be playing the role because there's no modern, you talking about like a modern, a well-to-do family. Like, ain't nobody finna have those thoughts.
I, I, I mean, like, I don't like. Well, Von Bryan, you're right. She does have people who work for her, but I don't think that justifies. I mean, I practically don't think that she cares about these fucking issues. She's here to run a grift line on people, and that's just the fucking end of it. I don't. I think we're looking way too much into it. I don't think this woman actually cares about any of this shit, and she's not required to care about her core audience members and the people who wanted to cape for her. So what do you expect? I mean, dude, there's plenty of people I work for who didn't give a fuck about black issues. History, nothing. I'm talking about actual conservatives in this fucking country, especially in the fucking military, dude. They didn't give a fuck about none of that shit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh
They didn't give
yeah.
a none of that. None
Oh
of
yeah.
it.
As long as they stay within the manuals whatnot, and they're like,
Yeah,
man,
them
fuck
don't care about
you.
that shit.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And yeah, just the money justification thing for me is a bit frightening because it tells you that these guys are willing to do anything and they will push anything just for the bucks. Because there used to be a point in the space where um people didn't really like speak out loudly like that regarding the intention because they're like, yeah, low key they in the back of the mind they're like, yeah, my YouTube channel's doing good, I'm making some money. But now people are telling, even the audience saying, they're saying, well, why is that a big deal? It makes money. It
Yeah, but
really shows
everybody,
how.
I mean, but they're on this economic compromise shit, man. These dudes don't give a fuck about none of these issues. They just see illicit money being made and they think, okay, good thing. But they want to benefit like those people are benefiting. It's really not anything else other than that. It really is.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these dudes want to do anything for money. I mean, they're willing to do anything for money. They're willing to watch anybody else do anything for money because they want to benefit like those people are benefiting. So that's what I see out of that. I really don't. I really don't look into it all that much because anybody who's willing to build an audience off of and not really give a fuck about this type of thing and have the relationship argument go on and dude, you're gonna be looking at it like a whole fucking clown, man. Like don't nobody give a fuck about that, man. It's to me and just to me. Could be wrong, but nobody comes up to challenge me. They talk a lot of shit, but when you drop the link, they don't come up. So it's like you can't really do anything about that. A lot of people just want to be right. They don't want to have their ignorance be challenged or tested in any way. So I just look at it as a lot of these people that's just where they at.
Yeah,
They,
just
they,
where they
they,
at, man.
they, they don't want this shit to change, and they don't want people moving to better options, and they definitely don't want these people solving any problems.
Yeah.
Like if you wouldn't know it, you'll think that most black men in this space are just two different archetypes of black men when that ain't the goddamn case. It ain't. There's a bunch of different dudes here who got families who actually have success and doing shit, and that's where these people are at. But a lot of these other people that you see, they got different ways of dealing with shit, and they just have these standoffish bullshit ass approaches to everything, and they just dodge all criticism whenever it happens, and that's the bullshit way that they've always have operated.
Mm-hmm.
But what can you do when people track this shit down? They intentionally tune into it. You have people who dodge the mess of politics and post everybody else's work when it comes to geopolitics. Like people can't see that shit, man. Or else, you have people who recently a certain gorilla is talking about the civil rights movement and all that shit, but he can only talk about it if he has women involved with it. So it's like that's just where we at when you have substanceless fucking dudes and people who track down information from substanceless dudes. You can't have real fucking progress. Because a lot of these dudes are real fucked up in the head to the point to where they think they gotta have this fake ass conversation or conversation about women, do this algorithm based shit. You can't really help dudes like
It,
this, man. You can't.
it, and you know what? And I did say I'm surprised and shocked about stuff. I probably should not because I remember just from the election, the grifting I saw, the change of position, the I'll say any bullshit just for some few bucks. That right there, that back then sort of really had me like, wow, because you have dudes who will push conspiracy theories about the, elections and things of that
It's the
nature,
same people. It's the
and then
same people.
a- and
Different from
then
one
you
side.
have and then you have these supposedly great teachers or whatever friend of theirs that refuse to call the bullshit out.
I mean, but you can't have progress if you can't really discuss issues. Most of these people can't discuss these issues because they're deeply are actually they're deeply compromised by the attention that they receive from being some sort of fake ass authority on these issues. So they can't admit that they're wrong. They can't see themselves arguing with people online. They can't do any of that. So at the end of the day, they have to be right. And they have to be right. And that's just where they are at this point. They can't really go through and be challenged. They can't be challenged because to them, challenging them is a bad thing
Hmm.
because they have to be right and they can't afford to take no fucking L's. But they can afford to hide behind the collective ignorance of their actual audience. And
That's
that's what they
true.
want to do is hide behind the collective ignorance of the audience. And when you have the audience member who too fucking stupid to want progress from proper fucking sources, they think that taking the fun away is too much of a compromise for them. Like
Hmm.
I don't know how you get from point A to point B. It's almost like it's never gonna happen.
Yeah, that shit's crazy, man. All right, bro. I'm about to get out of here, man. You have a good evening, bro.
All
You
right,
be
cool.
safe out there, man.
Oh yeah, I will. All right, I want to thank everybody for coming through. This is not even about the women. It's not really about her. It's people who dodge legitimate answers to questions to focus on the BS, man. And this is what their life is about. And you've seen the actual delineation between one group of people and another. These people literally came here to fake like they wanted progress to keep their name fresh out here on some bullshit. That's what you have to understand what these people are on, man. That's all. End of the day, they can't talk progress. They can't discuss anything because they ain't about it. So, with that said, I want to thank you guys for coming through. And man, tomorrow you guys have a really nice rest of y'all night.